Hi children, good morning. Welcome back to the maths class. I am Soumya, your maths teacher of Dr. Besant School. How are you children? Are you all fine and healthy? Good. I hope you are fine at home. Stay home, stay healthy. Okay children, if you want to go outside, you do not forget to wear the mask. Why? Because that is very important for you now. Okay? If you are eating anything, before that one you have to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Do you remember the hand wash techniques? Rotary. We have done for so many times. Okay, like that you have to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Okay children, now coming to the class, today onwards we are going to revise all the concepts what we have discussed in our earlier videos. Do you know why? Yes, you know that one. We will have the exams in last week of the September. That's why we have to revise all the concepts. Okay, children? Are you ready for the today's class? Yes, good. Everyone get ready along with your HW book. Why? Because from the back side onwards, we have to start the FA1 revision. Okay. First, I will revise all the concepts. After that, I will explain all the concepts. Okay. After completion of the explanation, I will give the model questions, multiple choice questions, and one word questions like that. Okay. At that time, you have to note down. Okay, children. Are you ready? Yeah. What is your first chapter name? Yes, shapes around us is the first chapter name. Do you know all the shapes? What are the shapes, children? Yes, we know about the square, rectangle, triangle, circle. Yes, somebody is saying cube, cuboid, and cone, cylinder, sphere. We already learnt about all these shapes. Once go to the basics of the shapes. All these shapes are formed by lines only, right? Yes, all these stripes are formed by either by straight line or by curved line. Okay, once revise all the lines concepts. Now see children, do you know that one? What is this one? And what is this one? And what is this? What is this? And what is this? And what is this? This is line. Very good children. This is line and this is line segment. Line segment. And this is ray. Very good. Okay. This is line segment and this is ray. Okay. What is line means? The line means does not contain the starting point and also the end point. It can be extended in both the sides. That is called as the line. Line segments means that contains the starting point along with the end point. The line segment has a definite length also. That is the line segment. Ray means ray has the starting point but no end point. It can be extended in one side. That is called as ray. Okay. Now see, observe. What are these lines? All these are the basics of the shapes. Okay. What are these lines, children? Can you say? Types of lines. Do you remember? Forget. Yes, these are horizontal lines. Very good, children. And these are vertical lines. And these are slant lines. And these are curved lines. Okay. What are horizontal lines? Means the lines which are drawn from right to left or left to right. All these types of lines are called as horizontal lines. Simply the sleeping lines. Sleeping lines are the horizontal lines. Now coming to the vertical lines means the lines which drawn from top to bottom or bottom to top. Those lines are called as vertical lines. Means standing lines are the vertical lines. Now coming to the slant lines. The lines which are slant, which have the slope. Those lines are called as, see, I am drawing clearly. Okay, like this. Those lines are called as slant lines. Curved lines means the lines which have the curves like this, which are not straight. Those lines are called as curved lines. Okay, children, all these are the basics of the lines. Okay. Now all these lines makes what? Makes figures. Those figures are of two types. What are those are? Open figures and closed figures. Open figures and closed figures. Okay. What are open figures and what are closed figures, children? Open means the figures must have the open, okay, which are not fully closed, and the figures for which the starting point and ending point are not same. For example, see this diagram, children. This is the starting point. I am drawing like this, and I am set here. Okay, I am ending here. Okay, now this is a closed figure or open figure? Yes, open figure. Why? Because this is the starting point and this is the ending point. Both the starting point and ending point are not same. Okay, and this figure is not fully closed also. That's why this is the open figure. Now coming to closed figure. See, children, this is the example of the closed figure. This is the I started here and I ended the same starting point. Okay, and this figure is fully closed and both the starting point and ending point also same for this figure. That's why this is also a closed figure. Okay, children, have you understood about the types of figures? Now good. Now according to the dimensions, the types of figures are of three types. Okay, what are those, children? Do you remember? According to the dimensions, all these are the basics of the shapes. For your understanding only, I am revising. What are the types of figures according to dimensions? According to the dimension, the types of figures are 1D figures, 2D figures, and 3D figures. 1D figures, 2D figures and 3D figures. Do you remember, children, what are 1D, what are 2D and what are 3D? Yeah, I will explain now. See, now observe this line. Okay, this line has only length. This is the length only. This has the length only. Is there any breadth to this line? No. Is there any height to this line? No. Means it has only one length. Means only one dimension. That's why such type of figures are called as one-dimensional figures. Now coming to two-dimensional figures. For example, I am drawing the rectangle here. Okay. This is the length of the rectangle. And this is the breadth of the rectangle. This is the breadth and this is the length. Total how many dimensions are there for this rectangle? Length is there and breadth is there. Two dimensions are there for this rectangle. That's why that is called as 2D figures. Means the figures which have two dimensions, those type of figures are called as 2D figures. Now coming to 3D figures. I am drawing the cube here. Observe this one, children. This is the cube. Okay. Now see, children, this is the length of this cube, and this is the breadth, and this is the height. For this cube, length is there, breadth is there, along with the height is there. Total how many dimensions are there? Length, breadth, height. Total 3 dimensions are there. That's why these type of figures are called as 3D figures. Okay, the figures which have one dimension, the such type of figures are called as 1D figures. The figures which have two dimensions, length and breadth, such type of figures are called as 2D figures. And what are the examples of the 2D figures? Rectangle, square, circle, triangle, all these are the 2D figures. Okay, now coming to 3D figures. 3D figures means the figures which have 3 dimensions, length, breadth and height. Those type of figures are called as 3-dimensional figures. What are the examples of 3-dimensional figures? Are cube, cuboid, cone, cylinder, sphere. All these are the examples of 3D figures. These 3D figures are also known as solid figures. Solid shapes are 3-dimensional figures. We can call like that also. Okay, children? Have you understood about the types of figures now? Good. Now coming to the class. What is our first topic? Our first topic is adjacent corners and opposite corners. The That is the first topic of your test book. All these are the basics of the shapes. Okay. By using those shapes only, we will learn the what are corners and what are adjacent corners, what are opposite corners, and what are edges. That's why I am explaining all the shapes first. Okay. Now coming to the topic. Now, first concept is adjacent corners and opposite corners. Do you remember, children, what are adjacent corners and what are opposite corners? Yes, I will explain now. What is this? This is a rectangle. I am naming as ABCD. This is the ABCD rectangle. Can you say, children, what are these lines called as? What these lines are called as? Yes, all these lines are called as sides. What these are called as? Sides. Here AB is one side and BC is another side and CD is one side and DA is another side. All these are called as the sides. Okay. Now what is corner? Can you say, children, what is corner? Yes, the point at which at least two sides are meeting. That point is called as corner. Now coming to this rectangle, observe at A. Here this AB side and the AD side, these two sides are meeting at A. That's why this A is called as corner. Okay. Now coming to this point, see, children, this AB side and this BC side, these two sides are meeting at this B point. That's why B is also a corner. Now coming to this point, see, children, BC side and CD side, these two sides are meeting at C. That's why C is also a corner. And CD side and DA side, these two sides are meeting at D. That's why D is also a corner. What are the corners here are? Say, children, what are the corners names here? A, B, C, D. Very good. A, B, C, D. All these are the corners of this figure. Okay. Now coming to the topic, what is the required topic is? Adjacent corners. Adjacent corners means which are sharing the same side. Those corners are called as adjacent corners. Now coming to the AB side, children. Here observe the AB side. This is the AB side. Okay. Which corners are sharing this AB side? A corner and B corner. These two corners are sharing this side only, AB side. That's why A comma B are adjacent corners. Adjacent corners means what, children? The corners which are sharing the same side. Those are called as adjacent corners. Now can you say, children, for this BC side, what are the adjacent corners? Good. B comma C are sharing this BC side. That's why B comma C are also adjacent corners. Now can you say, what are the adjacent corners for this side? CD. For this CD side, C comma D are sharing this CD side. That's why CD are also adjacent corners. Okay. Now can you say, children, for AD side, what are the adjacent corners? Here A comma D are sharing this AD side. That's why AD are also adjacent corners. Adjacent corners means the corners which are sharing the same side. Those corners are called as adjacent corners. Next, I am giving one more example. PQRS. Now can you say, children, what are the adjacent corners here? What are the adjacent corners here? Say, children. See, this side is sharing by P comma Q corner. That's why PQR one pair. Next, Q and R sharing this side. That's why Q comma R are one pair. And R and S are sharing this side. That's why RS are adjacent corners. And S comma P are sharing this side. SP side. That's why S comma P are adjacent corners. All these are the adjacent corners for this square. Okay, children, have you understood about the adjacent corners? Good. Now next, opposite corners. What is meant by opposite corners? Let's see children. What is meant by opposite corners? Now I am drawing the same rectangle again. A, B, C, D. Okay. What are opposite corners? Means the corners which are opposite to each other. See children, for this rectangle A comma C are opposite to each other, and B comma D are opposite to each other. That's why here what are the opposite corners are? What are the opposite corners? Say children. What are the opposite corners are? AC comma BD. AC are opposite corners, comma BD are opposite corners. Now I am drawing the square again. PQRS. Say children, what are the opposite corners for this square? What are the opposite corners? For this square, PR are opposite corners and QS are opposite corners. Okay, the corners which are opposite each other, those corners are called as opposite corners. Okay children, once observe those diagrams. Observe those diagrams. Okay, have you understood? Yeah. Now the next concept is diagonals. How to draw the diagonals? What are diagonals? Till now we have discussed about the opposite adjacent corners and opposite corners. Do you understand about the opposite corners topic? Yes. Now see children, what is diagonal means? What is diagonal means? The line segment drawn between the opposite corners. Now only I have explained the opposite corners. A, B, C, D is a rectangle. What are the opposite corners here? AC are opposite corners. Okay. Now the line segment drawn between these two opposite corners. This line is called as diagonal. What this line is called as children? Diagonal. Diagonal means the line segment drawn between the opposite corners. That is called a diagonal. And observe children, B and D are also opposite corners. That's why the line segment drawn between this B and D. This is called as another diagonal for this rectangle. Okay. Have you understood about the diagonals? Diagonal means what? The line segment drawn between AC opposite corners. That line segment is called as diagonal. Okay. Now again same example. PQRS. What are the diagonals here children? PR are opposite corners, means this is one diagonal, PR is one diagonal, and QS are opposite corners. That's why QS is another diagonal. These are called as diagonals. Diagonals means the line segment drawn between the opposite corners is called as diagonal. Okay. These are all called as diagonals. Have you understood children? Yeah. Now we have drawn the diagonal for the rectangle and we have drawn the diagonal for the square. Now can you say children, what are the diagonals for this triangle? What are the diagonals? Can you draw the diagonals for this triangle? Why? Good. There is no opposite corners. Is there any opposite corner to this one? There is no opposite corners for this triangle, means 0. The number of diagonals for the triangle is 0. Okay. Now coming to the circle. Can we draw the diagonal for this circle? No. Why? Because there is no corners and no opposite corners. How can we draw? We can't draw the diagonal for the circle also. That's why the number of diagonals for this circle is also 0. Okay children, have you understood about the concept of diagonals? Yeah. Now see children, I am asking one more question. When we draw a diagonal for a square or rectangle, what it becomes? That shape becomes. See, this is a square. When we draw a diagonal to that shape becomes two triangles. This is one triangle and this is another triangle. Means the diagonal divides the shape into two triangles. Now coming to the rectangle also. This is one rectangle. when we draw a diagonal like this shape becomes one triangle and two triangles. Means when we draw a diagonal to the either square or rectangle, that shape is divided into two triangles. Do you know that one? Good. Okay. This is the concept of the diagonals. Okay, diagonals is also over. Can you say, children? Now I will ask you the question. You have to say it now. Diagonals is over, sides is over, corners is over. Now I am asking the questions of the 2D shapes. What are the 2D shapes, children? What are the 2D shapes? Yes, square, rectangle, triangle, circle. Now you have to say number of sides and number of diagonals. Number of diagonals. Can you say, children, what are the number of sides for this square? Total how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4. Number of sides are 4. Number of diagonals? This is one diagonal and this is another diagonal. Total how many diagonals are there? 2. Number of diagonals are 2. Now coming to this rectangle, how many number of sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 means 4 sides. How many diagonals? This is one diagonal and this is another diagonal. 2 diagonals are there for the rectangle. Now how many sides are there for this triangle? 1, 2, 3. 3 sides are there. How many number of diagonals are there? There are no diagonals. We can't draw the diagonal to the triangle and the circle. Why? Because there are no opposite corners. Means number of diagonals is 0. Now coming to this one. How many number of sides are there for this circle? Sides. No sides means 0 and diagonals also 0. We can't draw the diagonals to the circle also. Okay. These are the number of sides and the number of diagonals. These are about the 2D figures. Now coming to the 3D figures. What are the 3D figures? Yeah, views. Next topic is the views. What are the views means? Yes. When we see from the top, what we see, that is called as view. Okay. See, children, for example, this is the what I have to show you now. Wait, children, I will come back in a little while. Yeah. Wait, children, 1 minute. Yeah. See. Now, observe this one. Okay. When we see from the top, we can see this one. Okay. That is called as top view. What are the types of views are? 3 types of views are there. Okay. What those are? Top view, front view and side view. What are the types of views? Top view. And second one is the front view. And third one is the side view. Side view. When we see from the top, what we can see, that portion is called as top view. Means this is the top view of this box. When we see from the front, we can see this portion only. This is called as front view. And when we see from the sides, we can see this portion only. These are called as side views. Okay. This is top view, this is front view, and these are the side views. These are the types of views. In your textbook, so many examples are given for you: bus, school bags, and bottle, shoes, boat. All these are given for you for your understanding. Now coming to the 3D shapes. See, children, this is the cube. Okay. Now say, children, what is the front view of this cube? I am asking about the front view. What is the front view of this cube? Front view? Square only. Means square is the front view. Okay. Like this. Now coming to cuboid. Now say, children, what is the front view of this cuboid? We can see the rectangle. Means this is the front view. Okay. These are about the front views. Now see, children, I'm asking about the top view now. Front view is over now. Top view. Now coming to the cylinder shape. This is the cylinder shape. Okay, what is the top view of this cylinder? Top view. When we see from the top, we can see this portion only. Means circle is the top view of this cylinder. Okay. For example, see. This is the cylinder. It is a cylinder or not? See children, it is a cylinder only, right? Okay, isn't it? Now see, when we see from the top, we can see this portion. This portion is the circle shape. When we see from the top, we can see the top portion. Here, circle is the top view of this cylinder. Okay. Now see what is the next one for the sphere. Sphere, what is the top view? When we see from the top. When we see from the top, we can see the circle shape only. Okay. These are about the top views. Now, front view over, top view over. Okay. Now, side views. What are the side views? For the cube, what are the side view? What is the side view? See children, for this cube, what is the side view? When we see from the side, we can see this portion only. Which shape is this one? This is good. Square only. Next, coming to sphere. What is the side view? We can see the circle shape only. These are the side views. Okay, children? Have you understood about the types of views? Good. These are the types of views. Okay. Now, next, what the next concept is? Edges, corners, and the faces for the 3D figures. What is an edge, children? Do you remember? Here definition also there. The line where two faces meet is called an edge. See children, what is the definition of the edge? The line where the two faces are meeting. See children, for this cube shape, here this face and this face, these two faces are meeting at this line. This is called an edge. Okay. When we see from the top, we can see the top view. These are the faces. What these are? Faces. The views means top view, front view, side view. These views gives us faces. Where the two faces are meeting, that line is called as. That line is called as edge. What is corner means? Now only I explained. Corner means a point at which at least two sides are meeting. That point is called as corner. Okay. These are the basics of the solid shapes. What are the basics? Edges, faces, and corners. Okay. These are the basics of the solid shapes. Now see children, what are the number of faces and number of edges and number of corners? Let's see some more examples only. Cube. Let's take the cube now. Can you say children how many faces are there? Number of faces. How many faces are there for this cube children? 1. Let's count children. Count for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number of faces are 6. And edges are? Number of edges are? How many edges are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Total how many are there? 12 edges are there for this cube. Next, number of corners. Number of corners. Total how many number of corners are there for this cube? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Total 8 corners are there for this cube. For the cuboid also same. Okay. That's why I am not explaining for the cuboid. Now coming to the cone. See children, for this cone, this is called as the circular base. And this is called as the vertex. Cone has only one vertex. Cone has only one vertex. This is called the circular base. That is called an edge. That's why for the cone, the number of faces are total. This is one face, down one is one face. 2 faces, and number of edges are 1, and number of corners is, are there any corners? No, that's way 0. Okay. Now cone shape is over. Now coming to the sphere. Sphere. Now coming to the sphere, children. See, for the sphere fully round shape only. Are there any edges? No, that's way 0. Are there any corners? No, that's way 0. Now number of faces total fully formed by the only one face. That's way the number of faces is 1. Okay. The next one is the cylinder. See children, for this cylinder, this is one face, and this is another face, and this is another face. Total 3 faces are there, and edges means how many edges are there? This is 2 edges. This is one edge and this is another edge. 2 edges are there. Are there any corners are there for cylinder? No, that's way 0. Okay. All these are the number of faces and edges and corners of the solid figure. Okay children, have you understood? Okay, we are revising all the concepts what we have explained. That's why I am some more little bit fast now. Okay, in the next class I will explain you I will give you the model questions and the multiple choice questions also. Okay, be ready along with your HW. Until then, bye bye children. Thank you.